Hello again. I think I'd just put a tutorial about guitar chords, or well, chords in general. A little bit of music theory. I'm no expert, but it's the way I understand it. You have all kinds of chords. You have major chords, minor chords, numbered chords like sevenths or ninths or 13ths or whatever. Augmented chords and diminished chords and combinations of them. And there's only 7 notes in our music, A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. And then it starts all over again, A, B, C, D, E, F, and G with another octave. And although there's really 12 notes because you have sharps and flats in there different places, like you have starts with A, then you have A sharp, which is the same thing as a B flat. There's on the piano would be that black key between the A and the B, but you notice there's no black key between B and C. So you have, all right, let me start all over again. You have A sharp, B flat, C, C sharp, D flat, D, D sharp, E flat, then you have F sharp, G flat, and G, and then G flat, or G sharp and A flat, and then starts all over again with A. So there's 12. That kind of explains, on the piano, the black keys are the sharps and the flats, and they're in groups of 3 and 2, 3 and 2, 3 and 2. That's because there's no sharp or flat between a B and a C and between a E and an F. There is no, a B sharp would be the same thing as a C, or a C flat would be the same thing as a B, or an E sharp would be the same thing as a F, and an F flat would be the same thing as an E, because there is no sharp or flat between those. And in Western music, as opposed to Oriental or Eastern music, the major scale is made up of the root, then a whole step, and a whole step would be like on a guitar, it would be 2 frets. Between an F and a G is 2 frets, because you have an F sharp. You have an F, first of all you have an E, a half step would be an F, another half step F sharp, then a half step would be a G, then a G sharp or an A flat, then an A sharp, B, then a C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, and then back to F. So anyway, there's a major scale is made up of the root, a whole step, a half step, whole step, and then another half step will bring you back to the octave. So it's a whole step, half step, whole step, and then a half step will bring you back to the octave. And we said in Western music, a chord is made up of a triad, which means 3 notes, and it's made up of the root, the third in the scale, like a C major scale, where it's all white keys, no black keys. It would be C, D, E, F, G, A, and a B. Okay, that would be the chords: C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And a chord, a triad, would be the root, a C, the third, which would be C, D, E, and the fifth, C, D, E, F, and then a G would be the fifth. Of course, in a guitar, you have 6 strings, so you kind of play each note twice. Makes a fuller chord. But that's a chord, 3 notes. Although you can make a chord and just eliminate the fifth, because the fifth, that note there, that G, you can hear it in the harmonics of the root. In fact, a lot of time you'll have what they call power chords, which is made up of the root and the third. They just eliminate the fifth. You have that a lot in rock and roll music. You know, they call them power chords. But a major chord is the root, the third, and the fifth of a major scale. Okay, and then what about a minor? Well, I'm glad you asked. A minor chord is made up of a triad, the root, a flatted third, and the fifth. So you just flat the third. So if you're playing a C minor, it would be a C major would be C, E, and a G. So a minor would be C, E flat, and G. And a major chord sounds happy, but a minor chord sounds a little on the sad side, a little bit darker, and a diminished really sounds dark. But that's got a flat third and a flat fifth. But a minor is just a flatted third. And you can also, well, let's talk about numbered chords, seventh chords. Seventh chord, you'd play the seventh note in the major scale. So in a C major scale, be C, D, E, F, G, A, B. And if you played just a B note with a C with a C major triad, of course that is called a major seventh. And it's different than just a C seventh. A C seventh would be a flatted seventh. And whenever you see C seventh, anytime you see any seventh chord written, like the letter of the chord with a seventh, that means it's a flatted or a dominant seventh. A major seventh would be, the seventh note in the scale. And a minor seventh would be, the flatted third with a flatted seventh. So a minor seventh would you flatten the third and flatten the seventh. Let's see. Let's see. There's something else. I was going to talk about augmented chords. Augmented chords is you raise the fifth of the scale a half tone. So you're playing a C, instead of playing a G, you'd play an A flat instead of a G. It's just you just raise the fifth. Other numbered chords, like a C ninth. Well, you might ask, well, there's only 7 notes. Where does a 9 come from? Well, like a C 9 chord, you have C would be 1, D, E, F, G, A, B. Then you start all over again. C, D. Well, you say, wait a minute. C, D. D is a second. It's the same. Why would you? Well, there is a chord called a C add 2. Add a second, which is a different chord than a C ninth. A C ninth, anytime you see a number written like that that's greater than a seventh, it implies that the root of the chord is already a dominant seventh chord. So you would play the major scale like a C. We would play the root, the third, E, and the fifth, G, and then you would play a flatted seventh, which would be a B flat, and then you would play a D with that. So that would be called a C9. It's got any numbered chord would have first of all, it's a dominant seventh chord, a flatted seventh chord with an added whatever, a ninth or a 13th. You just keep on counting after after you get to the number again, the octave, then you start counting all over again. Like a C13th would be C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. You'd play an A with a B flat. Anyway, that excuse me. Diminished chords now. Diminished chords are a major triad, except they have the third and the fifth flatted. And a lot of times it's a diminished seventh, and that's a double flatted seventh. I hope I'm not totally confusing you, but one interesting thing though about diminished chords on a guitar, they really start to sound dark, but there's really only 4 of them. You can call them different things, but there's really just 4 different chords, because every 4th fret, and the way you can play a diminished chord, like a D chord, just a regular D chord, just move it down a set of strings, and then put your little finger. It's like, make that little triangle like a D, but you move it up a string, and then you put your little finger. All right, that's a diminished chord. But if you move it up 4 frets, it's the same chord. Move it up another 4 fret. It's the same chord. Move it up another 4 frets. It's the same chord. It's just a different inversion. Here, the root of the chord moves up a string every time you move it 4 frets. It's the same chord. It's just a different inversion of it. In some songs you hear that, sounds of reminds me of a cartoon, somebody being tied to a railroad track. Poor whoever is it, Anne, the Snidely Whiplash is tying her to the railroad, or whoever her name was. It's a tension chord. Anyway, every 4th fret, wherever you start, it's every 4th fret. It's the same diminished chord. So there's really, in actuality, only 4 different diminished chords on a guitar. Because by the time you get to the 4th one, it starts all over again with just a different inversion. I thought that was kind of interesting. I hope I didn't totally confuse you, but I just a little tutorial on chords in general. Major chords is a root, the 3rd in the major scale, and the 5th, and everything's based on major scale. The 3rd, the root 3rd and the 5th. To make it a minor, you flatten the 3rd. To make it an augmented, you raise the 5th a half step. To make it a 7th, you play the normal triad, major triad, and you add a flatted 7th. Unless it says major 7th, then you don't flatten the 7th, you just play a 7th. A 9th chord would be a dominant 7th with an added, the 2nd note, which would be the 9th. Or the 13th chord would be the same thing as, 9th. 11, 12, 13, 4 more, be D, E, F, G, A. It'd be an A note. Let's see, diminished chords are a flatted 3rd and a flatted 5th with a double flatted 7th. I hope I didn't confuse you too bad, but thanks for watching.